A lot of dealers are jumping into the space as we began discussing that only 10% of the dealers currently have a strategy to acquire vehicles private sellers. And we see the number increasing due to the constraints that dealers are having today on their overall profitability.
Today's focus is kind of part two in a series referred to as Why Buy from Private Sellers. We're going to build on our conversation from a couple of months ago when we got into some of the key aspects of why you would buy from a private seller. So,
and just to clarify, so the used vehicle sales on average per year is about 40 million used vehicle sales, and dealers make up about 29 million of those units. So that means 11 million vehicles are transacted on the consumer market. So just over 25%. I don't think dealers are maybe aware that it makes up such a large percentage of the transactions. We estimate that just under 10% of the dealers have a strategy that will help buy cars from private sellers. So you look at the size of it, it'll be in over 25% of the vehicles that are sold, and less than 10% of the dealers have a strategy to acquire these vehicles.
Mark, in your experience, do you think most dealers are even aware of the market potential that there is, or is that not even known to them? Do they not even think about that?
No, yeah, I think that most dealers at some point or another have considered the private seller market, but the number of dealers who have a proactive strategy and a process in place to capture those private seller opportunities is probably right around where Tom was talking about 10% of the dealers, which really leaves a huge market of private seller vehicles available to those 10% of dealers. I mean, fully 25% of all the used vehicles being transacted on are being done so by private sellers.
What do you think keeps dealers, even now, knowing what they know and having the tools that they do? What keeps them from going this direction?
Well, for a lot of dealers, the process is simply too difficult. So if you don't have technology or a process or people dedicated to buying cars from private sellers, it's a challenging process. Certainly the main challenge that dealers are facing today is the margin compression, as we continue to hear from industry experts discussing this. And so the supply of vehicles, we don't see as getting any easier, but it comes down to the vehicles are available, but at what price point is a dealer comfortable to pay to acquire a vehicle to make a meaningful profit?